Financial Argument. Follow us on YouTube.
Greetings and thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I have a very special guest, somebody who I got to meet early on in kind of my own awakening to the libertarian ideology, gold and silver, and most importantly, the actual price suppression scheme that's been going on for decades, to where you truly understand the potential in gold and why you want it as both insurance and as a potential investment. Our guest today is the founder of Le Metropole Cafe and also co-founder of GATA.org, a nonprofit organization, Bill Murphy. Bill, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here, Daniel.
Well, Bill, let's get right into this. 2016 is definitely a game-changing year. Is the gold bull market cyclical, or is the cartel coming apart at the seams?
Well, it's a great question. You put it very well. I mean, the key from where GATA comes from, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, is that the price has been suppressed and constantly suppressed by the U.S. government, bullion banks, the Bank for International Settlements, other central banks to suppress the price for a number of reasons. And heck, it's still surprised. I mean, in the 60s, everybody knew the price was rigged. Now they do it surreptitiously and want to keep it quiet. But basically, my opinion is that they're hitting the wall finally, and that the price of gold, which is about half of what it should be if it kept up with inflation, is about ready to explode again. They've run their course the last 5 years, and it's coming to an end, as you suggested.
Do you think with the central banks fighting deflation and wanting inflation, do you think there's coming a time where they may actually reverse their price suppression into almost price inflation, or allow it to at least go up? I know in the 5-6 years ago you had referred to it as a managed retreat, but perhaps $10,000 per ounce gold may actually help the powers that be, because they are trying to spark inflation.
It's possible, but boy, what chaos it would create, considering excuse me, how short they are in the markets and what it would mean to so many things. I mean, if it ever went to a Jim Rickards type of $10,000 quickly, it would just wipe out all kinds of institutions. I mean, think of the COMEX. I mean, it would be chaos. But I think that we are getting to the point where the price is so low, and the big money that you're reading about, billionaires buying here, buying there, they're all starting to pile in because they can see what's going on, and they're going to lose control of keeping the price at these present levels, and it's going to explode. And I think silver was the one that will explode the most. It's their kryptonite. They got a big problem with it, and boy, it's been going on for years. But boy, I think we're getting close to the time when silver takes out 1850. It could go to 25 in a blink.
Yeah, considering this last pullback we had a week or two ago, that we're just coming out of, kind of roaring out of it this week. The inflows to both the gold ETFs, gold coins, and even the mining shares, it really didn't let up. Is there any update that we can share with the audience on the lawsuits? Because I know there are several out there, but the big one that was reported a few months ago was Deutsche Bank essentially admitting guilt to precious metal manipulation, and they were also willing to name others.
Well, yeah, another good point. I mean, it's this whole thing about gotta be conspiracy, nuts, and all stuff. It's also silly when the big banks involved in the gold price suppression scheme have just been fined over these recent years for LIBOR and interest rates and the currencies, mortgages, oil. I mean, there's hardly an arena in which they have been fined for rigging the markets. It's what they do. And in terms of Deutsche Bank, as you mentioned, they've been caught now in a lawsuit, and supposedly they've turned on some other people that are involved in rigging the gold price, rigging the gold fix in London. And I can tell you this, what we're waiting for, I'm involved with some people involved in another suit, waiting to find out exactly what the specifics are. We've heard about the wrongdoing by Deutsche Bank. That's not in writing yet. It would be very rare for them to admit, quote, wrongdoing. It would open up lawsuit floodgates beyond comprehension, according to the other lawyers I'm speaking to. So any day now or the next week or two, we should get the finality in writing of exactly what they've admitted to and what they've said. That is, so far as I know, not out there in the public domain yet. So that would be an incredible deal if they actually admitted wrongdoing. They have admitted doing certain things, and turned on other people. That's what we think is. That's what's been told, and we think is on the scene right now.
Bill, on the front page of gata.org right now, you guys have a story about fake gold and silver coins flooding the markets here. That is typically something you see at the end of a bubble. Here, I mean, we're literally not even close to a bubble. It's the exact opposite, but we're seeing this. Do you think this is just a further sign of the fact that the physical supply may be a lot smaller than people think?
Well, it's an interesting comment. Of course, from a GATA standpoint, that's what we think is exactly the case. Over the years, the central banks have been leasing out their gold and flooding the physical market to keep the price lower than what it should be. And I think we've thought this for a while, but however they've been able to mobilize this physical gold, it's running its course. And as it does, they will not be able to meet the surging demand at these low prices. And once we take out 1,300 again, I mean, the thing could shoot up very, very quickly.
How do investors absolutely safeguard themselves from buying fake metal?
Well, the most important thing, from simplistically, would be just go to somebody who's highly respected, you can count on, and who's got a good reputation, because they would be held accountable for something like that. So you want to know where you're buying your gold from and what's their reputation.
Bill, with negative interest rates for the central banks, it is interesting that the central banks are still accumulating. They're not selling their gold. You think, is negative interest rates really the end game here? Because this is unprecedented.
Well, exactly right. But it's been going on a while. I mean, there's nothing new. They're just going to another level today with supposedly German rates going negative. It's been on the scene here. Of course, our interest rates are near zero to begin with. I think with the Brexit issue in England and the low interest rates and concerns are all piling in. Even our presidential election, the two candidates, whoever you're for, I mean, they both have the highest negatives in history. This is creating a lot of concern behind the scenes. It's like, yikes. And all this stuff is starting to come together, and it's what's giving the gold cartel fits. And while they're, the open interest in gold and silver is ballooning again, they're back selling again after they took the prices down last month. But as you mentioned, the prices came back, cheapers. In 2 weeks, gold rallied from 1,200 almost to 1,300. That's incredible.
Yeah, Bill.
That's with the dollar. That's with the dollar going up and up and up. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, not only gold and silver are up in the face of that, but the mining stocks, the mining shares. I know you've been trading these markets for decades, for 4 decades. I mean, are you even surprised by how the radical, violent move we've seen in these mining shares, where we're seeing 300% and 400% gains? Some of the mining shares that I follow at Future Money Trends, they're actually making all-time highs right now, which is just incredible. I mean, this move in gold has barely started, and the mining shares have been so quick to react with just an enormous surge higher.
That's right. The HUI went from 199 to 240 this year. I mean, it's really astounding what many of the shares have done. And the ones that are in favor keep moving up and up and up. The ones that are out of favor are ignored. But what I keep telling my people is that, just my opinion, but that what you're talking about portends mega moves coming. Mega. In other words, it's been astounding that we haven't had much correction all year of anything of significance in the shares, the good ones, and they keep going up, as you say. And to me, it's been saying all year long that the huge move in gold and silver that many of us expect is on the way. And if that's the case, these shares are just beginning as much as they've gone up, because the public still isn't in them yet. A lot of hedge funds and gold followers and sharp investors and people who have been around a while, but the public isn't there. They can't spell the gold silver shares yet. When they come in this way, you're going to see something you can't believe, especially for these ones that have been neglected. Well,
yeah, I mean, not only the big institutionals have missed out on this, but even a lot of our close friends, is because people were so burnt by these shares from 2011 to 2015. I know plenty of gold investors who've completely stayed out of it. But it is fascinating to see this, because just as bad, I remember it was you that told me, just as bad as it can be just as spectacular going the other way. and it sure is spectacular. So, Bill, what are some conferences people can come see you speak at in the next 6 months here?
Well, I'll be in New Orleans at New Orleans Investment Conference, and I would like to get on the road again and speak at some of these conferences and see so many of my friends in Vancouver and Toronto and San Francisco and all over the place. But all of a sudden, this past year, pretty much the more right Gotta gets, the more, at least I become persona non grata. These people don't seem to want to have our subject discussed about gold manipulation and the big banks and the big money and power doing it. So they're shying away from having someone like myself there, which is a tragedy because, well, of course, I'd like to be there, but we offer the most bullish reasons for the people coming to these conferences to get involved in these gold, silver companies and in the physical market, because these prices are artificially suppressed and they're going to explode. When silver takes out 1850, I think it will go bonkers. That's what they're trying to prevent right now. So this is the kind of story that you'd think these people, the promoters, would want their people to hear, but taking on the money and power is just something that they can't handle.
Yeah, truly. I mean, we've talked about the mining CEOs themselves. I mean, there's like one or two that have ever stood up against the cartel, and everyone else, and then there's plenty of them out there committing treason against the gold sector itself. Well, Bill, thank you so much for joining us. Bill Murphy of La Metropole Cafe. You can get his daily commentary at La Metropole Cafe. I will put the link up on iTunes as well as YouTube. And also Gata.org. You can subscribe to their daily alerts, dispatches, and that's ran by Chris Powell. So he's finding stories out there along with Bill. And, it's truly amazing. I've known these guys for a long time, for over 10 years. And just to see, this entire idea, I guess, of gold price suppression, where if you just read what they had 10 years ago, at least when I did 10 years ago, it totally made sense. It was really not even a conspiracy ever to me. It was always very factual because they used the government reports, things that have been disclosed in the Freedom of Information Act, as well as the daily attacks on gold as their evidence. So it's very clear to all. But now it's on Bloomberg and CNBC. This is very obvious, and if you don't get it, the reason the story is so compelling, the reason the Gata case is more bullish than anybody, is because if it's been suppressed like a beach ball underwater, you can imagine what's going to happen as the cartel breaks apart and this thing goes berserk. Bill Murphy, again, La Metropole Cafe or Gata.org. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Daniel. Look forward to seeing you again soon.